Greetings and welcome to Silent Hill F in my blood-red sanctum of pain. I haven't quite donned my costume for this video. That's for the live stream only with my recreation of our beloved Scratch. But we are jumping into a little bit of a spooky week. More than a week. I don't know. We're going to play some spooky games for a little while because Halloween's a good excuse to do so. And I love spooky horror games. I have a ton of fun with them. And I decided to kick it off with Silent Hill F. Before we get to, I think we've got like Little Nightmares 3. We've got Tormented Souls. We've got all sorts of stuff coming up in the next few days. Let's talk about Silent Hill F, shall we? Here's the thing, and I've been thinking about this because I think some people love this game, and I haven't finished it yet, to be clear. As far as I'm told, it's not a very long game, but I haven't finished it yet. We're about 7 hours in, to give you context of where we are. But I can't be swayed by what other people believe, because I know it was very highly reviewed. It's why we chose it for this, and Silent Hill in general is a great franchise. I've played through all of them. The only one I couldn't stand was Silent Hill The Room. Was not a fan of Silent Hill 4, I think it was. But for everything else we played a few years ago, we did the whole franchise. I did not touch the remake of Silent Hill 2, which I think is probably a factor. And I'm kind of curious about going to Silent Hill 2 remake because there's a lot of people who are saying, oh, it was always like X in Silent Hill, which we'll get to shortly. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. But maybe it is in the Silent Hill 2 remake, which is fresher in people's minds. So let's do a little TLDR here, but I want to give some context to what I'm talking about. If this did not have the Silent Hill IP name attached to it, if it was called whatever, right? It was called the Ghosts of Ibushi, or whichever town we're in. I would say, after 7 hours, I can recommend it. It's a decent horror-ish game. That's what I would say. I would recommend it. I absolutely would recommend it. It's a decent-ish horror-ish game. It's on par with what I would expect from a lot of decent-ish horror games that come out of the last few years, like Visage and things like that. Really fun. Got some good spooks in there, and has some flaws, right? It's not perfect. It's not what I expect. It's not like, I'm not expecting a major AAA game. I would also say it's got phenomenal graphics, which it does. It does have the Silent Hill IP to it. It is a full AAA game. In which case, I'm a little disappointed because it has some very obvious flaws that I'm surprised exist and are actually making me do things that I would not expect and certainly did not experience during the previous Silent Hill games. So let's go through this a little bit. A lot of it is gameplay orientated. Let's talk about the port first. So it's obviously been made for console first. This is excruciatingly obvious by the fact... One of the biggest pet peeves I have with this game, actually, is that you don't have a legend or assignment of your keybinds for your equipment. It is baffling that that does not exist. It is insane. What I mean is, you have an item screen of the stuff you have, and you have an inventory. And you have 8 slots that you can put stuff into. But it doesn't tell you what number they're assigned to. There's no wheel. Apparently there is if you use a controller. I'm playing keyboard and mouse, which works fine for the most part. And they have a wheel system, which makes more sense. But they haven't included the wheel in the PC port, and it doesn't have numbers next to it. So what you do is you go in and you go, okay, I want to use, say, a repair kit, right? And so, the interesting thing is, as you use items, they get shuffled around. So it's not like I can set... Repair kits will always be on 5 because if I use the repair kit, it gets replaced by a first aid kit or something like that. And it's like, oh, okay. And then I picked up a repair kit. That's now on 6 or 7. So you have to go in, open the menu, stop the game, pause the menu, open up. I go, right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it goes into a second row. So you figure out mentally, it's like, okay, the top 4 are the 4. And then it restarts. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Then go back into the game. And then press 7. Then it'll work. You can't use it from this menu. It's such a dumb thing. It's such a silly, dumb thing. And it's like, this is weird that this doesn't exist. Stuff like that is very odd. And there's little bits and bobs of stuff like that. That's the one that's most frustrating. So I'm like, this is so odd that they just didn't even just put a number next to each of these slots. They're just like, okay, count along. Okay, that's number 7. And you can't like preset it or anything, which is... bog standard for the last, I don't know, 20 years, something like that, to put something in. But I think the biggest hurdle I've struggled to overcome isn't the story, isn't the setting, which is obviously very different to the traditional Silent Hill. We'll come to the story in a second. It's actually the way they've really struggled for me to balance combat. Combat in Silent Hill is very janky by design. It's supposed to be that way. And the reason is you are not Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson running around bashing monsters in the head, and this game wouldn't make any sense if it was. In this case, we're playing a young girl. In the other games, we're playing like James and Henry, who are like just, you know, they're just the average dude. They're not out there swinging bats like they're playing on a big baseball team. And so the combat is designed to be janky because it raises tension. You're missing, it gives some back and forth. You're supposed to try and simulate the idea of the average Joe in a scary situation fighting a scary, terrifying monster. I'm fine with that. What I'm not fine with is how they have decided in a very strange way to do a durability weapons system, which I expected as well. That's basically their equivalent of ammunition. For the most part, right? So in Resident Evil, you have limited ammunition. In this, it's like your weapons will break. Okay, which means you need to be... The idea is that you need to be selective about what you fight. I'm totally down with that. I'm totally okay with that. That, again, reminds me of stuff like Evil Within. Also, survival horrors do this regularly. It's actually more scary if you can't fight everything. You can't just battle your way out. Again, be the John Rambo type character. That makes a lot of sense. However, they have also decided in some very strange way to make instantly respawning enemies. And that completely kills this system for me. It's not every enemy. I want to be clear on this. It's something I noticed in the first hour. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've killed these already. I didn't think anything of it because we were kind of just moving forward with the game. And then I noticed it again about a half an hour later. I was like, well, I'm pretty sure these are just respawning at this point. And I started bringing it up. I was like, I'm pretty sure these enemies are just respawning. And then moved on. And the most egregious one, I hope Bex can find the clip of it, is there was an outdoor area at the middle school that had a very giant monster outside it. And the intention is here that you're not supposed to fight it. Right? You encounter this thing earlier on in the game, and it's like in a closed little environment in a village, and the idea is that you wind a well up while avoiding this thing. It's scary, it's giant, you're not supposed to fight it. So, clearly you're not supposed to fight it. However, we got a little stuck finding a particular item. We were looking for a key, and all the clues pointed to that it was somewhere in this outside area. I've been through this area a couple of times. Certainly what I would describe in these games as points of interest. Whereas, like, this is a sort of end point of this pathway, or there's a shed, or there's something you have to crawl into, like a little building. So those would be the points of interest. And the key wasn't there in any of those things. There was good items. It was like ability upgrades, you know, things like that are definitely worth finding, but no key. So I went back and I was running around the school. I went back outside again. And I was like, this is frustrating because the enemy's kind of got a lot of enemies inside it. It's got the big beast, and it's got several of the puppets and stabby people that walk around. So I saved the game, and I was like, I'll tell you what I'll do, is I'm going to kill these enemies and have a look around. But it's going to, as it should, cost us all our weapons and probably several of our healing resources. And that's the point of this kind of combat, is deciding to fight is going to cost you some other resource. It's either going to cost you in weapons, because they're going to break, or they're going to be close to breaking, and you might get hit, so you're going to use healing resources, which you would not do if you just ran away. Okay, so I came back in and was like, I'll fight the big guy. Considering we're doing this, I'm going to fight the big guy and see how that works. Maybe it's not that bad. I don't know, because there's a Souls-like, we'll get to this, a Souls-like combat system with perfect dodges and things like that, which have existed in several of these games for a while, so it's not a big deal. And so I defeated it. I was like, oh, that wasn't too bad. Cost me like a bandage and obviously took a lot of weapon durability, but I managed to kill the big beast. Only to see it then just respawn 5 seconds later. And that's what killed it for me. I was like, oh my God. Why? Like, the whole point of taking on these challenges in these kinds of games is that you free yourself up to be able to explore. Like, I choose to use my resources to fight something, and now I'm more able to explore the area to collect items and do things like that, right? I'm sacrificing resource to do that. And literally 5 seconds later, the thing was back on its feet. It was just a waste of time. And I was like, the message I'm receiving here from the game is combat in this game is just a total waste of time. It's an absolute waste of time. It is far, 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 far more preferable to just not fight anything, which means you have weapons in abundance, and just run around and teach you to kite everything, which you can do. You can just kite everything around because you've got dodges and a sprint and things like that. And just avoid combat because I keep more resources that way as well. I have more heals because I'm not fighting as much and my weapons aren't breaking. And that was the message it taught me. I was like, that's kind of that aspect of it. Now, again, it's not every enemy. You can still clear some areas out. And then some people are like, I'm pretty sure they've assigned just the big guy to also automatically respawn. They don't want you to do this area without the big guy. Okay, whatever. Like, that kind of takes me out of it because it also teaches me, like, well, I might as well not fight anything. Like, what's the point? Really? Like, what is the point? If I can just kite everything and move it around, I could choose to kill some things if they're backing me into a corner, but, like, other than that, I might as well just run away. And I don't want to play a game like that, right? I just said, like, the idea of spending the rest of the game just running around, picking up items, looking for notes, and avoiding fighting is not particularly fun for me, although it may fit the character. It may fit the ethos. It's like, you're a young schoolgirl. No, you're not fighting every beast. I get that. I do. It's also not very fun. Do you know what I mean? It's not very fun for me to do that. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm hoping to come in with a bit of a, like, less defeatist attitude on this, although the game has definitely incentivized me to play that way. And to be like, I'll kill things when I feel it's necessary, and I won't otherwise. But I'm kind of forcing myself to do it a little bit. I don't need to do it. I could just run around everything unless you get blocked into a corner. But even then, you tend to take less damage just getting out of the stuck position than you would just fighting a bunch of enemies. Because some of them do a lot of damage. So that's it. What's going on with the story? Yeah, one of the things with Silent Hill, I think if you've played the other ones, and so I'm not surprised by this, is you already kind of know the theme of what's supposed to be happening. Now, obviously, this is taking place in a very different setting this time. We're over in Japan, and we are not in Silent Hill, the actual place Silent Hill, and we are taking on the guise of somebody who seems completely unrelated so far to the original Silent Hill situation. Right? We're not going to see Henry and James or any of the links to the cult or anything like that. Or maybe we will. I don't know. But as of right now, we don't. We seem to be invaded by some sort of red sludge. But we know the themes are we're dealing with the trauma of this girl, Hanako. Like, what she's fighting is her trauma. Because we made the joke at the beginning. It's like, if we see Pyramid Head and we see sexy nurses, that's really stupid because they made sense contextually in the other game, right? That was his trauma of his wife being manifested. She shouldn't be seeing that. And so far, she's not. And everything sort of slots into place. Obviously, I don't have a full picture of what the story is right yet. There's a lot more to uncover with these two. So we've got some main characters. We've got Hanako, whose father is an alcoholic. Seemingly violent, it's implied, but like we don't see that particularly. There's history with her sister who seemingly got married and left. Her friends kind of use her. She's a bit of a wet blanket, gets stepped on. Her friends like borrow money off her. They borrow magazines. They don't return them. She never expects to get them back either because they just take from her. The main focal point is a boy called Shu who she's been childhood friends with for a long time and has caused a lot of jealousy with other characters. In fact, one of the girls survivors that you find, I forget her name, I think it's Rinko, pushes her down the stairs because she desperately wants Shu's affections, and she's acting super highly mega feminine, whereas Hanako doesn't. She's tomboyish. They're just friends. Like, there's no seemingly romance there. That makes Rinko very angry and jealous and bitter. I can't wait till we smash her in the face with a pipe, tell you that. When we get the opportunity, the game isn't letting us yet, but I'm sure it's coming. But the enemies we're fighting are like representations of her classmates. They're like puppet sort of schoolgirl type characters that are chasing you down, which are like, oh, okay, that's her. We had to watch one of our friends get killed. Suzako, I think she's called, who now manifests that she was also jealous, and there's some puzzles with like how she put on a smile, but she always hated that Hanako was so cute and didn't seem to do anything with it, and all the boys liked her and like she hates her, so she's all represented. The main thing is this red flower that's constantly sort of like sludging its way through the town. I'm assuming for now that represents puberty. Like the onset of puberty and stuff for her. I'm guessing that's what it is. But because we know Silent Hill works off these traumatic themes, it's nice to see how they're represented, to try and get... The enemies themselves are telling part of the story. What is the trauma she's dealing with? How is it represented to her? How is she dealing with that? And that reflects back into the alternate world, which they've gone with an alternate world that's sort of like... I don't know, like more of an ancient Japanese feel rather than the big industrial style that we went through traditionally in Silent Hill. You know, the rusted metals and decay. This time it's kind of pretty in there. It's kind of pretty and it's not decayed and rotten, but it does have larger monsters in there. I'm sure I like that. It's okay. Like I said, it's okay. If it didn't have the Silent Hill IP attached to it, I probably wouldn't even consider these things. So that's something to bear in mind. Is like, if it wasn't called Silent Hill, I probably wouldn't even take notice that this is not like that, because they're taking that different direction on it, right? But it is called Silent Hill, so it's something that will get compared to. It should rightly be compared to the other Silent Hills because it is a member of the franchise. So working through there, some puzzles, some of them hard, some of them very, very. We're doing the puzzles on hard. A little vague in places. It was interesting to see a conflict of like, that solution doesn't really make sense to me compared to what we thought the solution was. It's one of those things where you get presented a puzzle and to the way, depending on how you think, some people are like, oh, that's incredibly obvious to me. And even after solving it, you're like, oh, no, I still don't like that answer. Like the answer we came up with seems to make more sense. And it was good to see that mix of people like, yeah, I think the other way made more sense compared to what I do. But because it's on hard, I assume it's supposed to be a little obscure in places. So it has sort of multiple answers and little red herrings going on here and there to make sense. And that's all good. What is our main goal right now? Basically to sort of get out, find our parents. All the parents have been taken from the world. And we've got this little trifecta of Shu, our character Hanako, and Rinko, who are trying to get out of the town because it's all locked off, similar to Silent Hill, the way that's going on. So far, there's nothing particularly terrifying happening. That's one thing I'm missing right now. The scariest thing that's seemingly going on might be behind the curtain, is that when we're in the alternative world, we have a fox boy, who I assume is Shu, like a representation of Shu as this white knight. He's always there to save you and give you a helping hand, while at the same time this creepy red dressed doll is telling you don't trust Foxboy, which I think represents our mother. I think that represents our mother, because it's or the sister, mother or the sister, something like that, our older sister, because there's something there, because we find notes that are like serial killer-ish, like Hanako is mine, and you know, basically like he wants to wear his skin as an outfit or something. It's very, very dark, but there's no implication of that in the real world with Shu. Don't know what's happening there, and I feel like something quite heavy is going to... The trauma doesn't seem so extreme as to warrant a Silent Hill situation, right? Like, the trauma that happened back in Silent Hill with the fire, pretty extreme. Pretty goddamn extreme. This is not extreme yet. It's actually quite tame for what I'm expecting with Silent Hill. Silent Hill has managed some extremely dark themes. And that's not here yet. So I'm wondering where it goes. Maybe we'll find out tomorrow. But so far, I'm happy to play a decent-ish horror game. What I'm missing, and some people get conflicted on this, is the Silent Hill element of it. There's fog, and there's monsters, and there's trauma. That's all there. So, in that respect, it's here. But I'm missing the sort of extreme boundary-pushing content. Like, the first time you meet Pyramid Head in the originals is really horrifying. Really horrifying. And then you find out what happened during the fire and the whole family and the mother, and you're like, oh my god, this is messed up. Haven't got any of that yet. So we shall see. All right. Bye-bye.